This is Anne.
Hi, this is Crystal.
Welcome to Let's Talk About Faith Stuff. Today, we introduce the third week of Advent. By the way, how was your second week of Advent, Crystal?
Ooh, we were talking about trying to find peace, and I don't know, it was a hard week, Anne. I had trouble finding peace. Lots of
Sorry to hear that.
Busy and crazy.
That's not unusual for this time of year.
How about you?
I actually did better this week. I was able to get outside a little bit and look at Christmas lights, and I did find some peace. It was nice.
That's excellent. Well, this week our Advent theme is joy, and I love that joy goes along with Christmas. We talked last week about lights and colors and decorations of Christmas giving us peace. I think they give us joy too.
Agreed. So let's talk about it.
Great.
So it is Christmas pageant time. How's your Christmas pageant going?
Oh boy. Well, we're going to record it via Zoom tomorrow, and I'm really nervous about it, Anne. It's the first time I've ever done it, and I told everybody that was going to be on it, the most important thing was that we have fun and be joyful, because it's a joyful story.
Absolutely.
I don't know. How about you? How's yours going along?
Well, pretty good, I think. I've got different families recording each scene at their homes, and they're going to send it to me, and I'm going to try and figure out how to piece it together. We'll see how that goes.
It's a different year, you know. We're having to pull from different resources, and I don't know about you, but when I was trying to find the right materials, I started really examining the Bible story, because the script that we came up with came from Jonesboro, I think Arkansas, and I had asked the author if I could revise it. Well, in looking at the revisions, I wanted to make sure they were correct, so I started looking at the Bible stories, and you really have to hunt around for all the different pieces of the traditional Bible story, don't you?
Yeah, that is true. You know, that's the stories in Matthew and Luke are actually different stories. The census and the shepherds are only in Luke, and the Magi are only in Matthew. And in Luke, the angel appears to Mary, and in Matthew, the angel appears to Joseph. In Matthew, they have to escape to Egypt, and in Luke, they bring Jesus to the temple to be dedicated and circumcised. And we combine them all together.
It's crazy. Actually, you know, I think a lot of people think that it's all just in Luke, you know, and in reading through it, like we talked about the Magi, for instance, the Magi, it indicates, I mean, it doesn't flat out say it, but they were not there at the birth time. They said that the Magi went to the house. Well, we know that Jesus wasn't born in a house. He was born in a manger. So we know that much had changed. And we also know, because Herod was looking for any child less than 2 years of age. So they think that Jesus was less than 2 years of age.
Right. Well, and the manger was in one story and not in the other.
Right.
So
yes. And isn't that interesting? And both Gospels, though, mention John the Baptist a lot, which they don't call him John the Baptist. They call him John, who is the son of Elizabeth and Zechariah, who is a kin. Elizabeth and Mary are related somehow.
And he played a really key role in the story, because he plays a role in both of the Gospels.
He does. In the birth story. A really important part, more so than I think many people think. He was the one who prepared the way for Jesus to come. And so John was born before Jesus. So John came before Jesus. John was, when he was born, what was really interesting is the angel Gabriel visited his father in the temple, told him that he was going to be born, and gave a laundry list of the things that John couldn't do during his lifetime. And then, Zechariah was sort of struck mute. He couldn't speak because of his disbelief in the situation. And during that time, he didn't talk until after John was actually born, and said, no, his name is John. He wrote it on a slate, and then as soon as he had done that, he was able to speak again. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
this is such
it was
an
interesting because people didn't think that he should be called John, because he should be named after his father.
Yeah, which is Jewish tradition, is that you name your child after someone who has come before, and there was no Johns in their family apparently. So yeah, that was a really kind of enlightening thing. The more research you do about the Christmas story, the more you see John. And in fact, the other two gospels start out talking about John. So John comes before Jesus in every sense. Isaiah's prophecy that we read from 500 years before talks about the voice crying in the wilderness, preparing the way for Jesus, and that's John. So even God knew John was going to come before Jesus. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some people think that when the stories are different, that means that the Bible is full of contradictions and can't be trusted. But I don't think that's true. I think that different authors were just conveying different things and thought different parts were important. So.
It's true. I think if you were to get a whole group of people in a room and say, tell us about, something we all know about. Tell us about, for instance, gardening. Let's talk about gardening. Now, would everybody talk about the same thing? Never. Gardening is a huge issue. There's so many things to talk about. Somebody might talk about roses or flowers. Somebody might talk about vegetable gardening. Somebody might talk about organic gardening. There's a million things to say. The same thing with the story, that the authors had different things that they felt were really important to talk about. And that's why it fits in so well together, the Gospels and how they were chosen, because it tells one big story, and we get all the puzzle pieces and we put them together. And that's what we know is the story of Christmas.
Right. What's your favorite part of the story of Christmas?
It's all so good. I always love how God reassures us in many stories, but in this one in particular, when the angels come to the shepherds and say, you can imagine how terrified they were. It says they were terrified in the Bible, but the first thing the angel says to them is, don't be afraid. And I just always think that is God saying to us, don't be afraid. Good things are coming. I have good news for you. And I think we can all use some good news right now, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah. So that's my favorite. What's your favorite part, Anne?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite part. I think I like the part about the shepherds, because I like that it's aimed at the oppressed and the forgotten people. And yet it's also interesting to see the Magi, because they're royal, the smart, the scientists, the astrologists. It's interesting to see the juxtaposition, I suppose, of that. So I'm not sure what my favorite is. I like the songs.
Yeah. Christmas songs are the best, right?
And I think some of the Christmas songs sort of tell the story. Angels we have heard on high, joy to the world, the Lord has come. There's a lot of, so I think when I listen to the music and I hear the story through the music, that might be my favorite part, depending on what song I'm listening to.
Well, you're going to love what we're going to do next, because we're going to hear one of those songs. And so we're going to do that right now. What a great conversation. Thank you, Anne. Let's listen to something.
Listen to some music.
Sounds good. Project for today. We're going to be making a button and glitter glue sign that says joy on it. We'll get started, and I'm going to be showing you the we'll call it the max way to do this. In other words, I'm going to be showing you the kind of the over the top version, but you could do this with regular glue and your button box where you keep all your spare buttons. You could even take an old shirt or a couple of old shirts and cut the buttons off of them to reuse things. I just happen to have all these lovely Christmas buttons because I'm a crafter, and I happen to have glitter glue again because I'm a crafter. And the one thing I would recommend is, if whatever paper you use, you want it to be kind of stiffer than your normal paper. This happens to be cardstock, but you could even cut up a cereal box or a cardboard box and use the cardboard. Craft paper like this is the same as cardboard. It's the same color, and it looks beautiful with the bright colors on it. You can see that, right? It just really stands out. It makes it look great. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the word joy in glitter glue. Kind of center it on there and write big letters. There's our J. I thought I'd do it in 3 different colors, but you could do it in one color, or you could just do it with regular glue and put some glitter on it, whatever color you want. I'm gonna see how it stands out. So here's our base, and then we're going to take buttons and we're going to glue them on. And you can look at all the different colors I have. I happen to be thinking that it would be kind of nice to just kind of use the different colors that match, but you could mix them all up. That would be cool too. And whatever makes you happy. And you see, when I push on it, you are going to get glitter glue, just so you are aware. When you push on it, the glitter is going to come up through the buttonholes, and it will be so shiny and pretty when it's all done, and it'll be beside it, and it'll also hold buttons on. So it's a very cool craft. So as we were talking about, how do you find joy at Christmas time? While we're putting these buttons on here, we'll talk about that. I'm going to speed this up a little bit as I put the buttons on. But think about while we're putting the buttons on, let's think about what brings us joy. And there is our completed craft. You could trim off the edges if you want to, and you could also tie a ribbon up here at the top. I'll show a picture here in a minute, and hang it on a wall. Just make sure the glitter glue is nice and dry, because glitter glue gets all over everything. But I think you'll enjoy doing this fun and easy project, and hopefully it will bring you a little joy. Today we will need our Advent wreath craft project. We have lit 2 candles so far, our hope candle and our peace candle. Today, the 3rd candle that we will light is the candle of joy. Jesus is our joy. The joy of Christ within us can help us reach out to the sad, the suffering, and the lonely. We light this candle for joy. Amen.
Amen.
There is so much joy to be had during Advent.
There sure is. What ways will you find joy this week? It will be interesting to see what the week will bring.
Yes, it will. Next week, we'll be talking about that, but we will also be talking about love. That's something that always reminds me of Christmas.
We will be having a special guest. I wonder what they have planned for us.
Ooh, that's so mysterious, but also very exciting.
Right. Have a good week, and remember to have joy, because the light is coming.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.